Germania. This was the Nazi regime's dream of rebuilding Berlin as the capital of a New World empire. Designed by architect Albert Speer, Germania was a city of inhuman scale, planned around a massive 7-kilometer-long central axis. Its centerpiece was to be the Volkshalle, a domed hall so enormous that people have claimed interior condensation could even form clouds. The project was halted by the start of World War II, leaving behind only models and a few relocated monuments, a terrifying vision of architectural hubris. Palace of the Soviets. The Soviet Union's planned monumental skyscraper. This was meant to be the tallest building in the world, a monument to communism in Moscow. The design was a tiered skyscraper, crowned with a 100-meter-tall statue of Vladimir Lenin. To make way for it, Stalin demolished the nation's largest cathedral. The steel frame began to rise, but construction was abandoned when Germany invaded in 1941, and its steel was melted down for weapons. The water-filled foundation was eventually turned into the world's largest open-air swimming pool. Ville Radieuse. This was a radical and influential unbuilt dream for a new kind of city. Conceived by architect Le Corbusier, the Ville Radieuse was a utopian plan for a city of immense, identical glass skyscrapers set within a vast, park-like grid. All residents would live and work in these towers, separated by function and travel on elevated highways. While never built as intended, its controversial ideas, separating uses, prioritizing the car, and building towers in the park, influenced post-war planning debates and practices with significant controversy over its effects. White Building. Built in 1963 as part of the Bassac Riverfront development, the White Building was a large social housing block in the new Khmer architecture movement. It was designed by Luban Hap with engineering by Vladimir Bodiansky, while Van Molivan oversaw the broader state planning program. The building was evacuated during the Khmer Rouge period, then resettled afterward and became a densely populated vertical village, home to many residents including artists and cultural workers. After years of deterioration, authorities demolished it in 2017. Fordlandia. This was the corporate utopian dream of Henry Ford, a massive prefabricated American town built in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. In the 1920s, Ford established a rubber plantation to break a monopoly. He built a complete slice of American suburbia, with neat houses, a hospital, and a golf course. But the project was ultimately unsuccessful. The rubber trees were plagued by blight, and the workers protested working and living conditions, including imposed rules, leading to unrest. The town was abandoned, leaving a ghost of the Midwest to be reclaimed by the jungle. EPCOT. Before it was a theme park, EPCOT was Walt Disney's personal, radical dream for a real, functioning city of tomorrow. His experimental prototype community of tomorrow proposed a radial plan with a climate-controlled downtown under a glass canopy, with residential suburbs, greenbelts, and monorails radiating outward. After Disney's death, the company abandoned the ambitious urban plan, turning the concept into the theme park we know today. Mirabel Airport. Often cited as a major underused aviation project, Mirabel was designed to be the largest airport in the world when it opened in 1975. The grand vision was for it to become the primary international gateway for Montreal, with plans for high-speed rail and a massive surrounding city. However, due to its remote location and political decisions, the passenger numbers never materialized. For decades, it served as a nearly empty ghost airport until its modernist passenger terminal was demolished 2014 to 2016. Athens Olympic Village. This is frequently referenced in discussions of post-Games venue utilization. To host the 2004 Summer Games, Athens built a multi-billion-dollar complex of world-class stadiums, pools, and athlete housing. The projects were a source of immense national pride. However, after the 2-week event, with no long-term plan for their use, many venues fell into disuse, while others were repurposed. Today, they stand as a sprawling modern ruin, a widely cited case in debates over long-term planning for mega events. Sathorn Unique Tower. Nicknamed the Ghost Tower, this is a well-known unfinished high-rise from the 1997 Asian financial crisis. It is a massive, 49-story luxury skyscraper in the heart of Bangkok, with a distinctive neo-Gothic design and curving balconies. Construction was over 80% complete when it was halted during the 1997 Asian financial crisis. Never finished, its empty, decaying shell now looms over the city, a prominent site for urban exploration. Sanzhi Pod City. A futuristic resort on the northern coast of Taiwan, Sanzhi is one of the most visually bizarre abandoned projects in the world. Construction began in the late 1970s on a series of colorful, pod-shaped, UFO-like holiday homes. However, due to a series of mysterious investment losses and several fatal accidents on site, the project was abandoned mid-construction. For years, the empty, futuristic pods stood as a local landmark and the subject of ghost stories before being demolished. Salton Sea Resorts. This case involves significant environmental degradation. In the 1950s, the Salton Sea was a booming resort destination, the California Riviera, with hotels, marinas, and yacht clubs. But as the lake's salinity and pollution rose due to agricultural runoff, the fish died off in massive numbers, creating a toxic shoreline. The tourists fled, and the resorts were abandoned, leaving behind a surreal, post-apocalyptic landscape of decaying mid-century modern architecture on the shores of a dying lake. Superconducting Super Collider. This was meant to be the largest particle accelerator ever built, a scientific megaproject in Texas that would have dwarfed CERN's Large Hadron Collider. In the late 1980s, construction began on a colossal 87-kilometer-long underground ring. However, as the budget ballooned from $4 billion to over $12 billion, political support collapsed. In 1993, Congress canceled the project, abandoning partially dug tunnels and a few massive surface buildings in the middle of the Texas prairie. Ryugyong Hotel. Nicknamed the Hotel of Doom, this colossal, pyramid-shaped skyscraper has dominated Pyongyang's skyline for decades. Construction began in 1987 to create the world's tallest hotel. The 105-story concrete skeleton was topped out in 1992, but construction was halted by an economic crisis following the collapse of the Soviet Union. For 16 years, it stood as a windowless concrete shell, a long-term unfinished project. While the exterior has since been clad in glass, it remains unopened and largely empty. South China Mall. A very large retail development that initially suffered extremely high vacancy, this is the largest shopping mall in the world by gross leasable area. When it opened in 2005, it was designed to attract 100,000 visitors a day with a roller coaster and a replica of the Arc de Triomphe. However, due to its location, it was a commercial disaster. For years, it was a ghost mall with extreme vacancy. After 2015, it saw partial revival, especially ground floors, though upper levels still struggle. World Islands. This is a large pre-2008 development conceived during a period of rapid expansion. The World Islands was a wildly audacious project to construct an artificial archipelago of 300 private islands in the shape of a world map off the coast of Dubai. Each island was to be a luxury resort or private estate. However, the 2008 global financial crash brought the project to a screeching halt. While a few islands have been developed, the vast majority sat undeveloped for years after 2008. Reports of sinking were disputed by the developer, and selective projects are now moving ahead on a few islands. Thanks for watching. Which of these abandoned megaprojects do you think deserves a second chance? Let me know in the comments down below. Please also remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.